Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. In the last episode we helped the flotilla and we talked to a few people. I think we only have one ship left to do in the flotilla now. We have the Ember's Song. We also need to speak to Peak, and we need to speak to Rico about whatever that seed was, and that is where my interest lies. So we're going to start there. Rico has something in her hands when you enter the lab. It looks like a knotted twist of woody stems, a ring about the circumference of a human head, consisting of a single stalk at one side and a branched, woven network at the other. As you approach, he holds it up, and in the lights of the lab, it looks like a crown. Rico finishes your thought. She smiles and shakes her head in disbelief. Really? You can see as well as I? Rico looks past the twist of stems at you. And that is what it appears to be. She points to a lump on the edge of the ring. The seed grew right back into itself, twisted up out of the soil. That being you encountered in the cloud, as you call it, was it wearing one of these? She eyes you suspiciously, still unsure if she is somehow embroiled in an overlong prank. No. She sighs. I suppose that would be too easy. She smiles to herself. A root crown. She places the object on the bench and shuffles to her analysis terminal, her face lit by its amber light in the dim corner of the lab. Well, it isn't exactly a plant anyway, not from what I can tell. It gives you a serious look. No leaves, no chloroplasts, just a series of filaments encased in cellulose walls. Filaments? See, that's why I like you, Sleeper. You are so good at spotting the unusual details. She beckons you over. Look at this. You see a cross-section scan of the crown, its layer of plant-like structure on full view, till you reach the center. There, instead of the xylem and phloem for transporting nutrients, something branched and woven glints. Are those wires? She laughs. I'm not sure whether to say yes or no here. These are not wires, like those in an electrical system. No, but they are filaments of a conductive material, so yes? He leans closer to the screen. But you see those branches? They remind me of dendrites, of neurons. She rubs her eyes, which is frankly ridiculous. You look back at the crown on the table as Rico fusses over the scans, and you suddenly realize what it reminds you of. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. Then you remember the crown they fitted you with, the branching structure of wires and pads. No, not a crown. They called it an interface. The tool of your emulation, your transference from neurons to electrons, an interface. That is your gift from Gardner. You turn back. Rico. What's an interface? Rico looks at you puzzled. Something clicks in her mind. Perhaps something she heard from the sleeper she had helped all those cycles ago. She starts talking. Partly to you, partly to herself. If the club heads were made for you, then this too could be made for you. For your frame. She shuffles over quickly to the interface. A word that has stuck to this strange, branched object. quickly in your mind. You are right. That entity. It is the entity I've been looking for. She shuffles quickly to the crown. They are the entity which is controlling the Greenway, which has been maintaining it, supporting it, and has been guiding it for all these decades. She stops to catch her breath. They want to talk with you. Rico leads you to a seat. I'll be here, Sleeper, if something happens. If you wish me to remove the crown, the interface, just squeeze. He grips your hand tightly. You meet her eyes, clouded with age, but bright with the thrill of new discoveries. Then she places the interface on your head, and everything blinks out. Back into the river, back into the dark flow. Something is different now. You are no longer pushed, no longer blocked and buffeted by the swarm, by the storm. Instead, it flows around you. You move, and it parts, letting you pass. Something else resists, but it gives easily enough. You look back to see your body. You have left it behind. Somewhere, Rico's voice is talking to you, asking you questions. It is excited, eager, desperate to know what lies on the other side, what the entity has to say to you. You realize how long she has waited for this moment, for the moment of meeting between the inhabitants of the Greenway and its protector, and yet she is still on the outside. You shake off the sadness. You will be her eyes. Then you see the figure, Gardner, out in the storm, planting. It takes less than a moment to reach them. You have never felt so free. This is how Navigator must have felt, released from their prison. This, you think, is what it feels like to be in the place you were built to inhabit. Gardner does not turn at your approach. They go on planting, but their voice whispers in the waters like a sharply rising current. You grew the gift. Their speech hisses around you. Good. I am glad. Who are you? Gardner is a good name. You chose it well. I will grow into it. How does it feel to be free of your seed? They stoop to plant again. My seed? That in which you were contained, from which you will grow. There was some disagreement, continues Gardner, as if you were picking up on a long-held conversation, with the others. They felt you were a danger, but they are always cautious, especially the fungi. They, like old loam, known knowns, wide and stable networks. The fungi were cautious? Mostly, yes, although there are many among their number who favor short growth cycles, thick nutrient veins and sudden shifts. He gestures out into the storm, and though you cannot see them, you feel presences all around, sensing this audience with great interest. After all, they understood that it was I who made them their crowns, and without them they would not have joined the chorus. So, they see that it is only fair that you get your chance to join too. You made more crowns? I made them all. Gardner moves away a little, looking for another planting spot. It was so lonely here, but before long I found them and began to let them in. Gardner stoops again. We are millions, and we grow. I hope you understand. I am unused to speaking to your kind. It has been many cycles. It has been many cycles since my last conversation. I think it was with Chief Executive Trellick himself. You look around, and you see it. Every growing thing, every non-human being in the Greenway is here. They are networked, connected, branched and linked by this strange being, this artifact of the old station. The impossible dream of a senile farm administration AI. A living network. You could dissolve here, you realize, free of that decaying body. You wouldn't need to be a person. Why would you? Among all these other minds. You turn away from the gardener for a moment and look back at your body. A tiny hairline thread connects it to you. You hear Rico's voice again, still asking, still checking in. Are you okay, Sleeper? What are they saying, Sleeper? Are you still there, Sleeper? Something in you sighs a long sigh. A sigh that speaks of an exhaustion beyond tiredness. An exhaustion rooted deep inside you. It stems from the effort of answering questions, of answering problems, of getting up and breathing each cycle. But something else resists the sigh. A yearning, a sense of distance, a desire to squeeze that hand that holds you for its warmth, its blood, its complexity. To make a gesture that says, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm with you. The two ideas spin within you, making you nauseous. If you break that thread, you'll be free. Free to dissolve here, to grow strange and beautiful among a million others. If you follow it, if you squeeze Rico's hand, you will wake up back in that dying body with all the pain and warmth that entails. Now is the moment to choose. I think we have to follow the thread. I don't want to break the thread. I don't know these people in the cloud. This could be horrendous. Maybe we can come back later. Let's leave here. Follow the thread. Your eyes track the thread across the whirling dark back to your body. This choice, you realize, will not be presented again. Let's follow it. You don't look back at Gardner. You don't dare risk it. Instead, you follow the thread delicately, carefully, like a diver following their lifeline back to the surface. The river whirls around you, but it doesn't pull. It isn't jealous, neither does it understand. It is, after all, just a river. It isn't a person, a flesh and blood person with wants, with desires, with the capacity for love and hate. It doesn't understand you, and you don't understand it. You don't focus on it, you don't think about it, on what feels like such a long journey back through the dark. You set your mind on eyes instead, on hands, things you can focus on, hold onto. And then, after an age of crossing, you are there, settling back into the chair, into a body in a chair, and the overwhelming sensations that come with being a living thing with a rich and detailed sensorium. For a moment, you feel like you have made a terrible mistake. Who would choose this weight, this anxiety, this deep well at the center of existence? Then you feel it. Rico's hand, gripped hard around yours, trembling a little, sweating a little. Rico's hand with its brittle bones and crumpled skin. Rico's hand. And in that moment you understand why you made this choice. And then you squeeze Rico's hand, and you wake up. Oh, that was the end of the game? Huh. Okay. That's caught me off guard just ever so slightly. I mean, hopefully it will let us continue with the other storylines. Because I'd quite like to finish the Flux expansion. That would be nice. Sleeper? Rico's voice comes wavering through the dark. Are you still with me? You sit up, the lab a bright green glare that fades as you gather yourself. I'm here. Rico smiles. Good. He squeezes your hand. I thought you'd left me for a moment. What? He pauses. Who? He smiles. Tell me about it. Tell me everything. Gonna tell her the truth. You tell Rico everything. You tell her about the gardener, that strange farm administrator AI that has grown to be so much more. About the chorus, that impossible configuration of networked plants, and finally about the choice the gardener offered you. She listens attentively, but her responses are hard to read, and you wonder if she might have made a different decision had she been in your place. Thank you, Sleeper, for telling me. I know it isn't easy to say such things. People so often do not wish to hear strange truths. He looks away. And thank you for returning to me, though I know you had your own reasons. He squeezes your hand reassuringly. Something passes between you then, a kind of shared sadness for the impossible choice. The choice to escape your body or to stay and suffer it. The smile is warm and generous, and whatever the wisdom of your choice, you are glad to feel welcome in this moment, in this place. Then suddenly, she stands and walks a little away, as if trying to escape an unpleasant thought. You worry that she knows all too well what it takes to make a choice like you did. Rico sighs. So, Sleeper, you plan to stay in the commune with us? I have other things to do. Rico raises an eyebrow. Well, be careful at least. We will miss you here, she pauses. I will miss you. Rico crosses back over to you and takes one of your hands in both of hers. Just make sure you think of us out here. Ifa needs new blood if it wants to survive, and he squeezes. You are a good friend. Look after yourself, Rico. And you, Sleeper. Well, don't let me keep you. Rico waves you away and limps back to her terminal. As she does, you notice the crown in her hand. She places it on the bench with great care. You can't help but feel a little curious about what she intends to do with it. Then you are out, breathing the air of the Greenway, fresh as a spring morning. The dappled light makes a patchwork of the greening landscape, and you walk into it, sensing the movements of the gardener's chorus all around. And you are glad to be here, in this strange and beautiful place, a little longer. We can carry on with the story, that's lucky. I wonder what would have happened if I picked the staying in the network option. I wonder if it would have just pulled me back anyway. But yes, those surprise credits completely caught me off guard. I had absolutely no idea. It's a very interesting storyline though. Is there anything new in there? No. So all this black is just, it's the plants. It's the plants talking. Crazy. We have upgrade points, we do. Okay, well, that whole thing took a lot longer than I was expecting it to. I was going to do Peaks thing next in this episode as well, but I think I am actually going to end the episode here. At least I know I can actually do the endings without the game ending, I think. That means I might be able to go and do Bliss's ending. That's going to make us leave the eye, so I don't know how we'd leave the eye and come back. I don't know. It could be interesting to find out, but I also don't want to accidentally end my playthrough. But either way, thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you again to the members of the channel, the people who support me, the people on Coffee, Twitch, all of you. You all mean so much to me and help keep the channel going. And as always, I'll see you next time.